Hey everybody, Craig Cottle, Director of Nature Reliance School. I wanted to talk to you about my book and give you some helpful hints from it as well. The big question that several people have asked is, why is it called Extreme Wilderness Survival? Let me tell you, number one, that is actually the title that the publisher chose, which I'm all on board for, and here's why. The title of the book, Extreme, is an indicator of some of the links that I went to in the book that go over and above your typical survival book. Let me talk about a few of them, and I'm going to help you with some of the information from it as well. Number one, I talk about mindset, and we've talked about that so much I don't want to go in detail about it again, but nobody really talks about mindset and how important it is. It is vitally important to this puzzle piece that we call survival, of what I call a puzzle piece of survival: mindset, skill, tactics, and gear. You equally need portions and parts of each one of those to make survival happen, okay? With that said, one of the things I go over in the book that isn't in your typical survival book is self-defense. And I've had the good fortune of over 20 years of experience teaching hand-to-hand combatives, defensive tactics, in any number of things along those lines. And I absolutely, positively wanted to make that part of the book. Here's why. And this is where it goes extreme, I guess, from what most people see as survival, and that is, survival is not just getting lost in a hike. Wilderness survival is not just using your map and compass wrong, or a rock falling off and hitting one of your teammates. It's a whole lot of things. It can be simply being on vacation in a wilderness area and bad things happening. One of those things that can happen is somebody tries to physically aggress you. And so what we talk about in the book is several things. We talk about mindset, skills, tactics, and gear as far as self-defense is related. So we look at how to use a firearm for your safety, how to use a knife, how to use a stick, and how to use your hands and your elbows and any number of things. And one of the things I go over in the book that I'm going to share with you now is you have 5 weapons on you at all times: your hands, your elbows, your knees, your feet, and your head. And everybody has 5 vulnerable areas on their body. That's their face, their throat, their groin, their knees, and their feet. And so what I mean by that is that your typical person doesn't have to have an incredible amount of skill set to use one of those weapons against one of those vulnerable areas on the body. For example, if somebody is aggressing you, they're a larger person, and you strike them in the throat, it's going to have an effect. If you strike them in the chest, maybe not so much. If you knee them in the groin, you're going to have an effect. If you punch them in the arm, you're probably not going to have an effect. So that's why we approach the topic of self-defense on the 5 weapons perspective and the 5 vulnerable areas. So no matter what position you find yourself in, you'll be able to use one of your weapons to defend yourself against one of those 5 vulnerable areas. Now, to raise the bar a little bit, we also go into, in the tactics section, how to utilize a team as far as self-defense is concerned as well. Meaning, if that team is just your family, you and your wife and your kid, or your wife, or you and your husband and 4 of your children, or if it's just a group of guys that are fraternity brothers that are going on a ski trip in West Virginia, this is what you can do as a group to defend yourself. We talk about how to cross danger zones. We talk about a large-scale event, something happens, how you can move through a wilderness area so you're safer. And so that way, again, like I've said so many times, you are more proactive and being prepared before an event occurs rather than just being reactive, which is, quite frankly, the largest amount of what most survival books talk about is just reacting to problems rather than being proactive and fixing yourself before a problem occurs. So again, remember those 5 weapons: your hands, your elbows, your knees, your feet, and your head. And remember those 5 vulnerable areas: the face, the throat, the groin, the knees, and the feet. If you want detailed usefulness on how to go about doing all that, pick up Extreme Wilderness Survival, and it's all in there for you. As always with Nature Reliance School, come on, join in. Let's learn together.